All right, so today we're going to be looking at a tool which is getting quite a lot of attention. If you look on LinkedIn, it's bringing people some pretty fantastic results, and it's called Julio. So Julio is your always-on AI SEO operator. And there's a few things which kind of stand out about Julio, which makes it slightly different to the kind of hundreds of other tools in this space. The main thing being, obviously, we've got kind of Semrush and Ahrefs and kind of a whole history of SEO tools, which are there showing you confusing interfaces, showing you a million problems wrong with your site, but never actually helping you to deliver SEO. Now, Julio is the first kind of agentic platform where it's not just showing us an issue, but also helping us draft the fixes. And you'll see in a minute what's kind of special about Julio is this idea of, number one, it's been trained by some of the best SEO agencies in the world. And this is top firms, top agencies, which makes all of the kind of systems and mechanisms behind it very, very intentional. The second thing being that Julio is watching everything 24/7. It's looking at what's ranking on AI models, what your competitors are publishing, how each of your blogs are performing. And it's putting this all together into a simple system for us to understand, which tells us this is what we need to do this week and this is how we're going to do it. So really just think about this as like your SEO agentic operator, because this is kind of a new phase of SEO tooling, which is getting super exciting. And this is kind of the simple premise of it. We're starting with Julio watching absolutely everything. It's looking at every page on your site, every competitor, every AI engine, and it's showing you in real time what we need to focus on. But rather than just showing you all these things, it's actually helping you ship the work. So kind of with human input, it's helping you to deliver these technical fixes, to update content, to create new content on the site. And we're basically going to be testing this workflow in this video to see if this is actually any good. All right, let's hop on over to Julio. So onboarding all done, I'm in the dashboard, and this is everything I can see. Right off the back, I think this is probably kind of the main feature, which is Julio's inbox. And this is the idea of 24/7, we're pulling all the insights into one place. Now, what I think is quite clever about this is, let's just look at something that's pulled up for me. So this is one of my clients I've added in, and it's pulled up. It's connected to Google Search Console. Actually, let me just walk you through the settings, because it's got a whole bunch of information which is actually pulled pretty well straight from my site, which are kind of what makes this business unique, where they're serving, the money pages, so where we want to build internal links to, case studies to mention in blog, vocabulary, editorial rules. I'm actually just going to add something in here, which is don't use M dashes. It's offering kind of sources for creating the blogs, example articles, brand documents. So I can really, really personalize how this assistant writes and kind of does SEO for me. But anyway, right off the back, I'm going to be having a look at some of the stuff it's mentioning. So Julio's inbox is coming up with this idea for a blog, which is definitely relevant to my client. You know, it's telling me we've got a high search volume and a very low keyword difficulty. And it's recommending I create a piece of content. Now, what I like about this is technically like 5 SEO stages condensed into one. This is, keyword research. This is competitor gap analysis, and it's done this. And instead of me doing that all manually, it's combined this all together and just come up with, this is what you need to post. And again, these insights are getting refreshed every week, so it's going to stay nice and fresh. I'm going to add this buy to let mortgage for a limited company. This looks like something I want to create. And obviously the most important thing about Julio is how good is this content actually going to be. So I am going to, over to the content section, I'm actually just going to go run the pipeline. Now, a bit of background about how Julio works. One of the best things about Julio is it creates some of the best content that AI can create. Now, unlike a lot of other SEO tools, which are kind of just AI prompts, prompting a model to write a blog, Julio is, number one, built off, like I said, a basis that a lot of SEO agencies follow. It can be super customized to how I want a blog written. And you'll see in this research stage that I've actually got a lot of say over kind of how this blog works. This was kind of built by all sorts of writers and editors who understand the job of a writer and editor nowadays isn't necessarily to write every single piece of word on that page, but it's to guide the article and have the article conclude in a certain way and have the article mention certain points and have this narrative running through. And we'll see how Julio allows us to do that. And obviously what I've just shown you in this settings page is that I can really customize where I'm building internal links to, what content I'm talking about. For example, something I want to mention for this client is that it's FCA registered. And that's a super key differentiator, and Julio's added that in. Over 1 billion in gross development value delivered. All this stuff, super important to be in the blog posts. So I can really customize that here. I'm going to go ahead and just wait for this piece of content to be finished researching. Then we'll check out what it looks like. All right, research done. And what Julio is bringing me here is, again, essentially a few different SEO processes stacked down and done by the AI. Firstly, it's looking at the competitors that are ranking, then coming up with content gaps. So what is the information gain? What can my client offer here, which isn't currently being talked about in the SERP? Where we're going to build internal links to, the sort of people also ask questions we should be answering. I'm going to remove a couple of these, which I don't think are relevant. And then the choose an angle. Now, this is super important. Julio has tested over 1,000 different blog posts to see which rank best in different industries, and the one with an angle is the most important. So, often an editor or writer will come in and say, I want to take this angle, conclude with this, have this narrative throughout. But actually, Julio has analyzed what's working on AI models, analyzed what's working on Google, and kind of given the unique angle that we could give based on what it knows about our client. So this one at the top about how renters' right acts reshapes limited BTL strategy, that's super relevant for my client, so I'm going to go ahead and choose that. We can see the structure it's got below, and I'm pretty happy with this plan, so I'm going to go ahead and execute the draft. All right, so we can see here that Julio is now reviewing the draft, and this is super cool because Julio is the first kind of agentic tool to fully mirror this process which a good agency would follow in terms of writing a paragraph, and it writes it section by section, makes sure that every single section is pulled from correct sources and citing its sources, and then it's basically reviewing the whole piece overall. Is it likely, does it meet the quality threshold to beat what's ranking AI models, beat what's ranking Google? It does this in a space of about 5 minutes, and then we are able to go through and actually review what it has built. All right, 6. So Julio has gone ahead and written this blog post. I'm able to go and click review, and we can see everything here. So here's the content, and along the side here, I've got a little side panel I can pull out where I'm basically selecting a meta title, meta description. Julio's letting me know the sources it used, the internal links that it's built. I can change all of that here, and I can also see the quality threshold which Julio gives it. So down below I've got some score details, and I can see different scores on things like the voice, the specificity, structure, SEO, readability, and then all down here I'm seeing different changes I can make, some suggestions based on the review which I can click by fixing here, but in general we got a pretty good quality score. All right, now, obviously, I can go ahead and I can edit anything in this blog post, but quite a cool feature I like about this is, let's say, for example, I wanted to change this first paragraph. All I need to do is basically go ahead and select this here and search in, write this in the style of Shakespeare. And Julio's going to go ahead and just edit that first paragraph rather than me having to completely rewrite it or give it to a different kind of AI model. So Julio's giving me that here. Go ahead, accept, and there it is. Something else I can do, which is super important here, is start adding infographics. So I'm just going to go ahead and insert an infographic here. I can also find infographic opportunities based on the content which is already in the blog. So what I can do here is Julio's giving me a few select already existing styles which just come built in. If I want, I can build my own style and really customize these infographics. That's in the settings, but for now, let's just say, I've got to even look at this buy-to-let mortgage, tax, math, and portfolio. Okay, let's go ahead and create an infographic on the key points of this topic. Let's do that. And let's do buy to let mortgage top tips. And I've selected the whiteboard style. I'm going to go ahead and generate this as a blog inline, and let's see what it generates. All right, so as we can see here, it's gone ahead and generated like a whiteboard style. So this is super cool. If I wanted to be more custom with the style, make it more custom to my branding, I absolutely could. I can even add my logo. You can do all of that through settings. So I'm go ahead, add in some infographics. I can check out where internal links have been built to. And obviously, if you just read this content, what you'll notice is this is super custom to Julio, and it's super custom to your brand. So for example, it's giving an internal link here on another blog of ours, which is setting up a limited company for property investment. Perfect. And it's going to mention throughout, because obviously the most important thing nowadays is that our blogs make sense for AI models and have the context of our business built in. And that's exactly what this is going to do, whilst not kind of pushing anything or making this seem AI written and spammy. And also, we've got that nice kind of narrative flowing all the way through, which the editor has picked right at the start. So I could go ahead and customize this as much as I like, but for me, that's good. I'm going to go approve and mark as ready. Now, the cool thing here is every single time we publish a blog post or make any change, in fact, Julio is monitoring it. So from day one, when we publish that blog post, Julio is monitoring in our CMS, in Google Search Console, how is that blog performing? And then what it's going to highlight is for some blogs, we need to reoptimize. So this will all appear, of course, in Julio's inbox. It's going to show me here all sorts of things which require reoptimization. And as well as that, it's also going to show me kind of smaller things. Let's say there's a technical issue hindering my site from ranking. A meta description needs to be updated. It's going to bring this all into Julio's inbox, so I don't have to hunt around for this stuff. It's all in one place and ready to action. So reoptimizing a blog post is very simple. For example, this one, where was it down here? Yeah, this has dropped by 6 places in the last 30 days, which is a really cool finding from Julio. So I'm going to go ahead and start reoptimizing this. Okay, so first thing it wants me to do is find a keyword, and I'm going to say for this, limited company setup. We can see that's got a pretty high search volume, pretty high keyword difficulty. Maybe I'm going to do limited company setup UK. That looks much more relevant. And let's go run the analysis on this. Okay, so what Julio has just done is searched all across the SERPs, all across Google, and it's given us here a kind of diagnosis. So here's what's ranking for this keyword, and here's why you're not ranking. Here are what your competitors are doing well, and here's what you're not. Quite simply, it's giving us an idea on how Julio should reoptimize this page. So rewrite this as a fully structured guide that matches the depth and the heading architecture of top ranking competitors. So it's giving us all sorts of reasons here on how we need to reoptimize this article. Luckily for us, we don't need to do it. So I'm just going to go ahead and get Julio to do it. Now, what we can see here is Julio is bringing up all sorts of things which need to be added into the article. For example, here, all 3 competitors highlight core investment benefits, high yields, government-backed incomes, aging populations, which we are not mentioning. Great suggestion. I'm going to go add this into the article. It's also making a few suggestions on content that I need to improve, which I can go ahead and do and watch Julio carry out for me. But let's have a look at this new section, for example. Cool. So that's gone ahead and chucked all of this in here. Super easy. Again, we've got another suggestion on what needs to be inserted. Competitor 3 covers this. Competitor 2 covering this. We're not talking about it at all. Go ahead and add it. Nice. And then when I'm happy with the article, perhaps I can go add some more infographics. I can check on the side what it's talking about. But in this case, I'm happy. And I'm going to go approve and mark as ready. All right, so another cool feature is we can check out analytics, and this is across our AI visibility analytics. How are we ranking locally and which competitors are beating us? We can see here are all the competitors ranking top 5 in the local search for property investment, or for buy to let, or for Chinese restaurant, which isn't particularly relevant to this, but we can check it all and see who is winning, especially in different areas. I'm searching for Manchester here, but it works for all sorts of, or any different area in the world. I can do the same with AI visibility, which I haven't set up yet, but I can with AI with Google search, which we can see we're getting a bit of a gain here, and that's across all sorts of different time frames. And then I can also see for our competitors, how am I ranking versus the competitors. So a whole suite of ranking tools, which Julio comes built in with. And then I've also got site health. So if any issues come up with my site, I am going to see them here. In this case, we are looking good. One of the coolest features I find about Julio is the fact I can literally just talk to it. I can have a conversation with it, and it knows about me. It knows about my data. How has my ranking performed over the last 30 days? You can see here it's pulling straight away from Google Search Console, and it's giving it to me all here. How I'm ranking for all these different keywords, where I'm kind of ranking low for, where I'm ranking super well for. And that's not it there. Like, Julio is connected to some of the top SEO kind of databases. So I can say to it, for example, I want to write a blog on assisted living UK. Is this a good idea? And what it's going to do is search using SEO tools. It's going to look at what's ranking, in this case on the SERP, what the keyword volume is. And I can see here that it's got a pretty good keyword volume. It's pretty high competition, and it's telling me at the moment it's dominated by the NHS and by pretty big brands. So what it's suggesting is I need to create a blog, but create it specifically taking this angle, which is a really good shout. Like, this is something that an SEO professional would tell you. So I'm going to say, all right, super cool. Can you go ahead and add that to my strategy board? And Julio is going to go ahead and add it to the strategy board, just where we've seen everything in the first place, where we build the whole strategy for the coming weeks. And I can see here, those strategy boards are right here. I can go ahead and I can click into them, and I can add them over to my strategy board, which is super cool. All right, final thing I think we need to show here is the reports. The fact we can just send off reports, whether that be to our clients or to us. Julio is going to send us a report straight into our inbox. And that's going to be customized to all the work we've done over the last month, what it is, and how ranking has improved locally, AI visibility, etc. All right, so that is Julio. Now, as you can see, it kind of takes that balance between you putting in a bit of the work to make sure we're not just pumping out fully AI stuff, but a lot of it really shortens kind of quite what were previously monotonous and very lengthy SEO tasks. So if this is cool, and if you kind of want to have a go or a demo with Julio, let me know and we will book in a call, and I'll send you over all the relevant info so you guys can just go ahead and get a few weeks trialing this product. All right, I really appreciate watching this video, and if Julio looks cool, let's chat. Thank you.